Macey Donathan, thanks for taking the time. The Into the Blue tournament, Denver, Northern Colorado, Utah Tech. I know things didn't go as you wanted them to. What were the expectations going in, and maybe what turned?
Yeah, we came into this weekend wanting to set the tone for conference play. The way things go for the Mountain West, obviously you have to be good in the Mountain West Conference, and that's really what matters. And so we got some girls out there that hadn't been out there before, and that was a good thing for them to get some exposure before we start conference play. But really, the intention was to set the tone for conference, and those were three really good teams, probably the most competitive 3 matches in a row that we've seen this year. And Denver came in; they're a pretty solid team. They've brought in some people since last year that have really helped them. They made some changes this year that, again, have helped them, and their size alone, I think, was something that was hard for us to get ahead of. UNC, that was a tough one. It's a reverse sweep, and we crush them in the first 2 sets, and they made some pretty drastic changes, and that we just couldn't, figure out in time. And we weren't as efficient as we typically are. So when we put ourselves in that situation, it's pretty hard to come back from. And Utah Tech is a good, solid team. They were 500 at least last year. They're probably going to be better this year. And UNC won Big Sky last year. So they're all 3 competitive teams. I think all 3 are going to do some pretty good damage in their conferences. But for us, I think it was just great exposure that the work is not done, that there's a level of consistency that we have to have in order to be successful, and that has to happen every single match that we play. And we can have some dips and lulls, and those are things that are going to be pretty natural. But how we respond to that, those who come in on the floor when we're in those moments, how successful are we at that? So definitely some things to work on for us this week, and excited for Nevada on Thursday.
How hard is it when a team does what Northern Colorado does and changes the entire outlook of their team, basically changes their defense totally in a match? How hard is it for players on the court to recognize that? I know you as a coach are probably like, oh, this is what they're doing. And how long does it take for that to snap around and go, we've got to do this instead?
Yeah, they picked apart our blocking quite a bit because they went into this double quick scenario. So they were doing some slides and ones in front, and so we were having to split our block up pretty evenly, and they have the roster to be able to run that, and that's not normal for teams. So that was the first time we had seen that kind of offense. So we were playing pick me up a little bit there, and we just couldn't find the time. But and I would say also too, they kind of served us into some seams that we typically hadn't seen before. They started to pick on some players that typically wouldn't be picked on. So that alone really put some pressure on us. But good on them. They're an experienced team. The kids that were playing were kids that played before. Last year that was not their first time, their first rodeo. So I think that experience alone kind of helped them with that match, and it definitely allowed us to see like, hey, teams are going to change. Their game plan is going to adjust when they are down after 2 sets. And for us to just kind of know our game plan and adjust accordingly when that does happen, and that we shouldn't freak out, that we just got to find some different solutions, and there's nothing wrong about that. That's just how we play. That's how it works. So being a little bit more long game oriented as we go into this weekend, I think would be good.
8-4 through the non-conference. Conference starts this week. We'll get to that in a moment. But as it stands right now, after 12 games, lots of volleyball, you happy with the progress your team's making?
Absolutely. I know it's funny. You look at last year, and at this point, we're 1-11. And we're not that this year, and it's awesome. And now the expectation rises, where it's like, hey, we should have won that match, or anything like that's starting to come. I love that. I think it's great. It just shows the significance of the work that our team has done. I think people see the progress, and now they're wanting more of it, right? But the margins get a little smaller as we push the needle and we try and make upgrades. The realization that our team is still young in this sphere of winning, and we're going to have dips and lulls again in that phase. But I love that the conversation is now turning to, hey, let's go win. Like, we should win, and not, oh, I hope we get a chance. It's like we put ourselves in a great position. And I hope our team doesn't view that as pressure. I hope our team views that as the work that they have already put in is showing on the floor, and now we just got to be consistent with it, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So now you go into Mountain West play. Nevada coming in here Thursday. That's the first step. It's the first one, right? What do you need to see, and what can you tell us about Nevada?
Yeah, Nevada running a 6-2, they have one player that we particularly need to be worried about. So we'll be doing some blocking schemes and stuff this week in practice. It's a pack-the-house game. The band is going to be there, and the band is not always there, so I'm pretty excited. I asked them to come to every match, and they can't because of time, but we will take advantage of the days that they are. So excited for that. It's going to be a great environment, and I think it should be a good match. I think if we're consistent and we come to the game like we typically would, and we play average or maybe a little above, we'll be fine. And so I'm looking forward to that, watching our girls compete at home.
Thursday night at 6. Get out there to the East Gym. Macey, thanks for the time. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.